The mere mention of $5,000 gold or $60 silver seems to elicit a response of scoff and hatred from our fellow investors. Nobody wants to talk about silver or gold, but talking about $5,000 gold, $65 silver, people look at us like we are crazy. Well, maybe we are a little crazy. Aren't we all a little crazy after all? But what is happening right now that could lead to those extraordinary prices? And I have a question for you. Have you noticed, 2 or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, when the gold price was much, much lower, people, mainstreamish gold and silver people, tended to talk about the prospect of $5,000 gold much more often than they do now. Now, the mere mention of $3,000 gold or $50 silver or $60 silver doesn't seem to get the same level of attention or frequency of occurrence, which with it did, that didn't come out right. Well, anyway, like it did 2 or 3 years ago. What is going on? I'm here to tell you. Look, have you ever noticed it's the stuff that nobody ever talks about that always winds up happening? Nobody was talking about a major war in Israel or in Palestine a year ago. It's happening. 3 years ago, nobody was talking about a major war in the Ukraine, a war in Europe. It's happening. $5,000 gold. $65 silver. There's only a handful of us that are talking about that as a realistic prospect. And I have heard a couple people mention those prices for 2024. Look, my prediction for gold for 2024 is 2,600. I do think silver could get up into the 40s. It could get up into the 50s. Long term, I think the price for silver is, I don't want to say infinity, but hundreds and hundreds of dollars, possibly even thousands of dollars. Remember, guys, we're measuring this stuff, right, in paper, in electronic, in nothingness. I was talking with a nephew of mine last night at Christmas dinner at my mother-in-law's house. He's a senior at one of the major you're going to be shocked at what he said about Bitcoin. We were talking crypto in general. I thought this was very interesting and showed, like we're hearing, that these younger people are becoming more interested in silver and gold. We were talking about betting on football games, which I never do, right? I used to like to play craps. I got stories about craps that you would not believe. That's dice in the casinos all over the world. Nonetheless, I never bet on football, and he was talking about he's a senior at one of the top business schools in the country, and I said, your friends bet on football? I said, what about trade stocks? Nah. I said, what about crypto? And he said, you know what? I actually made some money a couple years ago when it was all growing crazy. But then listen to what he said that I thought summed it. I mean, this is a 22-year-old college student. He said, I don't know. He said, but I don't like crypto because it's not based on anything, right? Kind of like as we talk about basing the price of silver and gold in dollars, it's not based on anything, right? We got to remember that, guys. The dollar is not based on anything. It's based on nothing. It's paper, right? I live here. It used to be based on silver and gold. You know the story. President Nixon temporarily, and I'll say it every month, temporarily for the last 50 years took us off the gold standard. But up until that point, thank you, Metal Seer. Up until that point, the dollar was based on silver. The dollar was based on gold. Metal Seer says, I'm just happy gold is at $2,058 an ounce. I got that written down. I was supposed to say that. Thank you, Metal Seer. I don't need to dream of $5,000 gold. By the way, Santa gave me coal for Christmas. Any chance its value will explode? Well, another one of my brother-in-laws is an executive. St. Louis was the coal capital of the world. We made beer, coal, fighter jets, and genetically modified food. I think there's some bad karma here. Nonetheless, I don't know if coal's going to go up, and a couple of my neighbors are executives at some of the large coal companies that are still headquartered here in St. Louis. I don't know about coal. It's not getting the same bad rap, but they're miners. just like gold and silver miners. Anyway, I digress. Silver. Let's talk about the silver price right now. $24.50. $24.20. I apologize. In the spot market. Gold right now, $2,058. Take a, do you ever find yourself, am I the only one that struggles with this? Like, like not stopping to smell the roses a little bit. Let's all pause, basement dwellers, and smell the roses a little bit. I don't even know, okay? I'm the worst bronze basement host in the face of the planet, but I guarantee you that a year ago, or 2 years ago, or 4 years ago, right, when we were all a little bit younger, but not better looking, because basement dwellers, that's one of our key components. We get better looking as we get older. Nonetheless, if 2 years ago, 5 years ago, we could go back and tell that younger, not as good looking you, right, that we would be at $2,060 gold, even $24 silver, I bet you'd be happy. I bet we'd be all happy. Why aren't we happier right now? We got a $2,100 gold. We just forgot this year to tell Santa that we wanted it to stay above $2,100. Where are we going to be next year? Am I going to be sitting here next year when we're going to be talking with each other, hanging out in the basement saying, well, we got $2,400 gold. Darn it. And it hasn't moved for the last 2 or 3 months. Anyway, we can stop. I don't know. Like I said, I struggle with that sometimes. Like I want more. We're going to keep it up. Let's talk about, gosh, guys, I got a ton of stuff to talk about. Let's talk about all what's going on and why we could see this $60 silver, why we could see $5,000 gold, why we could see $2,600 gold. All right, there's a lot happening right now. As a matter of fact, let's touch on this. Our old friend Robert Kiyosaki, we haven't talked about him for a while. He did call for $60,000 silver. So maybe we're all not so crazy after all. Robert Kiyosaki is a best-selling author and liked by many, loved by many. Like anybody, he's a high-profile guy. Some people don't like him. Nonetheless, he basically says that when the whole system implodes, which some of us think that we know that there's like a possibility, a probability, it's not looking real good for the US dollar when you look at the math behind it, that could happen, and that we could see prices like $60,000. 60. We'll start with 60, and then the 1,000 we'll take later. $60,000 silver. Did you hear this? This is scary. This is mainstream media, okay? Here's the headline. CBS News reporter makes a dark prediction of a black swan event in 2024. Okay, this was CBS News investigative reporter Catherine Herridge, who isn't like a doomsayer type person. She made a dark prediction that we're going to get this black swan event. It was on, you've heard of this show, Face the Nation. Here, and this is a tweet they put out from Face the Nation. Herridge predicts in 2024, the U.S. may have a quote-unquote national security event with high impact that's very hard to predict, pointing to ongoing wars and U.S. divisions as factors creating quote-unquote fertile ground. That's one of our favorite words, fertile ground, right, for the silver and gold price. But she's saying fertile ground for our adversaries like North Korea. They've not been pulled out of the closet, they haven't been put on the front burner for a while. China and Iran. Well, she took the words, we should be on we should have basement dweller Face the Nation, because that's a couple of the big points that I want to talk about. So she's saying this, what's interesting here, guys, is this is CBS Face the Nation. A black swan event is defined as a major catalyzing event that seems unpredictable at the time. Unless you're a basement dweller, we know what some of these things are, but with the benefit of hindsight, seemed inevitable. Wow. Unpredictable, but when you look back after it happens, it seemed like it was inevitable. That was a black swan event. Like the fact that our government has accrued $34 trillion worth of debt, huh? And that the financial system could blow up, that the banks are all bankrupt right now, that could be a problem, that all the commercial real estate they're holding, all right, all these loans they made on all these office buildings 3, 5, 6, 8 years ago are now worth pennies on the dollar, 50, 60, 70 cents on the dollar. That maybe we'll look back and say, whoa, see, it seemed inevitable. Look at what happened to Enron. Seemed inevitable, right? Look what happened to WorldCom. Think about the great financial crisis. It seemed inevitable. Yeah, okay, so that's what she's saying. There are a number of concerns, she says, concerns I have that factor into that. Not only is this sort of enduring heightened threat level that we're facing, the wars in Israel and Ukraine, and we're so divided in this country in ways that we haven't seen before. Okay? And I think that just creates fertile ground for our adversaries like North Korea, China, and Iran. And that's what concerns me most. Hey guys, please give this a thumbs up. I'm going to beg you one time. And when you come on at first, if you expand the screen, before you expand the screen, please give it a thumbs up. It helps my heart. It helps the channel. And it feels good for you because it's a nice thing to do and it's free. So thank you very much. Thank you for the super chat. Thank you guys. Never expected. Always appreciated. We got 100 thumbs up. We got a lot more to talk about. We got to ring the bell. 10 ding-a-lings, okay? For you, right? It's the bell warning. We will ring the cowbell when you guys get us to 200 thumbs up, and we know we're going to do it today. The host of CBS Face the Nation agreed with the investigative reporter, saying, quote, a lot of people are up at night with that concern, Catherine, at least in this town, which would be Washington. And very interesting. Okay, so we're being, what does it mean? It's a little scary. What does it mean when we're being told by the mass media, the mainstream media is talking about the potential for black swan events? What is that telling us, right? What is it telling us? You know, silver and gold, safe haven status, safe haven attractiveness. People run to silver and gold when things get very bad. Mainstream media telling us things are getting very bad. But then think about this. Come on, guys. Right? Okay, black swan. We got Jerome Powell, right? Shifting to the dovish side. That's not a good sign for the U.S. economy. Right? Jerome Powell shifting towards a dovish stance. That's a great thing for the silver price and gold price. Do you think maybe that explains why we're holding in this 2050, 2060 range? Silver at $24. You don't even want to get me started on silver and what's going on there. It is so, we will get into it, right? $60 silver, $45 silver. It's going to be like a black swan event. How did they say that? It's something that was unexpected, right? It's unexpected. Nobody else expects $60 silver. None of the guys on Wall Street. I know, and I know a lot of you, the guys aren't in today, but Goldman Sachs, they love to join us here in the basement. So Merry Christmas to all our friends at Goldman Sachs, the most prestigious investment bank in the world, right? They come to join us basement dwellers to get the real info. If you enjoy coming here, I want you to come here as much as you can, as much as you like. You're always welcome here in the basement. Please subscribe to the channel, right? That doesn't just go to the guys at Goldman Sachs. That's you, the most important person who's here right now, giving me your time. All 300 of you on the day after Christmas. And we got more to talk about. We got a lot more to talk about, but subscribing is free, right? The content is free now and will always be free. So please subscribe to the channel. We're trying to get to 31,000 subscribers by the end of the year. You can be part of it, baby, part of it. The banks, the commercial real estate. Don't forget, what does it mean? What does this mean to you when you hear this? That the third biggest building in Los Angeles, which is one of the biggest cities in the world, one of the biggest cities definitely in the United States of America, and I've been there. I'm not real, I don't dislike it, but I wasn't really overly impressed with Los Angeles. I don't know if you've been there or not. Have you been to LA? Here, you know what? It's time for a little participation, basement dwellers. And if I'm going to ask you to participate, old Ronnie's got to participate. If you've been to Los Angeles, type capital LA. I'm curious. All right. Anyway, third biggest building in Los Angeles. It was sold in 2014. Okay. The new owner just sold it recently, 10 years later. And the new owner who'd bought it 10 years earlier sold it for 45% less. Let's have you guys been to LA? Look at all you people that have been to LA. Maybe some of you live in LA. Oh, Jake's Custom Parts. Always good to see you, my friend. Yeah, I went out to LA when I was trying to become a professional underwear model. That didn't work out so well. Now, when did I go? Oh, I went to LA before we went. Susie and I went on a trip to Australia, New Zealand, and Fiji. Well, a long time ago. Anyway, where was I? I had something so profound. Oh, okay. This would be like this. This would be like if you and your brother-in-law, Eddie, who you probably just saw a couple days ago, think of your favorite brother-in-law or sister-in-law, right? We're boys and girls here in the basement. You guys in 2014 bought an investment house together, right? Your brother-in-law or sister-in-law said, hey, there's this great house around the corner from me. We can buy it for $100K and we can rent it out and make money, right? Okay, so you guys borrow $100K. This is 10 years ago. You were 10 years younger, but not 10 years better looking, because that's one of the attributes of the basement dwellers. We get better looking with age. Nonetheless, 10 years ago, you guys buy the house for $100,000. You rent it out for 10 years. Okay, you still owe $100K to the bank because you're pocketing all that profit. Yeah, everything's great. We go to Branson on vacation, whatever, floated your boats. You guys both decide you got to sell it last month. Okay, you go to sell it, and now it's only worth $55,000 because it's gone down 45% in value. That's what happened to the third biggest building in Los Angeles. Third tallest. I'm exaggerating. Maybe not the biggest by square footage, but the third tallest, which means it's close to being the third biggest. I'm rather tall, 6'4". Anyway, that's what's going on. That's in the banks, guys. That's the lag effect. Darn it, the L word, the lag effect. That's the lag effect from the Fed raising rates. All those loans, like the Fed raised rates. Well, all those loans were locked in for 3 or 4 or 5 years. Guess what? I got news for you. Somebody needs to tell Joe this. The lag effect means all those loans slowly come due in the coming year and 2 years. And when they're coming due, right, the interest rate on those loans is doubling. And the value of the collateral that backed them up has been cut in half, or cut by 30%, or cut by 40%. Does that make sense? Right? It's not a pretty situation. But the Fed's got this little system in place. They don't talk about it much. Well, they did that with the treasuries, where they're going to bail them all out. We'll see how all that works out. Okay. The situation in the Middle East is not getting any better, getting worse. Okay. More ships are being attacked in the Red Sea. This is a big deal. I know us Americans, we know more about Lake Michigan and the Gulf Coast and all that than we do about world geography. I'm guilty, right? But I've learned a lot about the Red Sea lately, and that's a massive corridor, right? On the south end all the way through the north end on the Suez Canal. I think like 15% I saw of the world's economy goes through there, and it's getting bad. And the other big Western countries aren't wanting to get involved helping the United States police that zone. Why are we, and I won't get started, but I'm going to ask this question. Do you ever feel like the United States has spread itself too thin, and like why are we like out trying to police the world and rule the world. I guess it's because we basically won World War II, right? And we were the world's most powerful country. But it's really, really, really starting to feel like it's not working out too well. It's just my opinion. You don't have to agree with me, and I'm not saying I'm right. One thing I've learned as I've gotten older and better looking is that how dumb I am. I'm not joking. I think it's a benefit of getting older. Like the older have you experienced that? The older you get, the more you realize you don't know. And I think in some ways that makes us maybe not smarter, but wiser, right? That we're open to learn. And this whole situation over there is crazy. Nobody's talking about China and Taiwan, right? That's another powder keg. Our relations with China are not good, right? And don't even get me started on China and precious metals, silver and gold, because when you look at China and how they are accumulating gold, accumulating silver, and in many cases doing that by sidestepping the big COMEX and the LBMA, right? Hey, the U.S. has almost 700 bases. Yeah. We got them everywhere. Thank you, Metal Seer. Another super chat, my friend. Thank you. Yeah, we're spread thin. No doubt about it. But the price of silver and gold that we watch, where do you look? Like Kitco's changed. They still apparently are saying, I don't know, they're having a cyber security issue, something like that. I've been looking at SilverSeek. That's that website run by that guy, Peter Spina. They have the spot prices, but that's the spot price. We still look at that. Why? All right. I mean, let's, whoa, man. We're going to have a breakthrough moment, basement dwellers. We're looking at the spot price, the COMEX and the LBMA price of silver. Let's just talk about silver. Number one, we know that's the most manipulated exchange in the world, right? The COMEX and the LBMA, the London Bullion Market Association. But we also know, right, that price is manipulated. But then think about the double kicker on top. It's not the real price of silver and gold. It's leveraged 20, 30, 200, 400. Depends how you want to look at it. Times for each 1 ounce of metal that they have. Okay. But on top of that, right. And it's manipulated. But on top of that, thank you, Craig. Wow. Thank you for a super chat, my friend. Super generous. Thank you. On top of that, we're looking at the price in dollars. We already talked about this, but it's important. Number one, it's manipulated. Number two, it's measured in unicorn fart dust. It's the COMEX. This is new. This is just all happening right now live, guys. The COMEX price of silver, right, is nothing but manipulated and unicorn fart dust. It's like double crazy, but that's what we look at because that's what we've been told. Oh, the price of gold, the price is up. No, that's not the price. An ounce of gold and the value of an ounce of gold and an ounce of silver is the value of that metal, right? That has been the value of that metal for the millennia, for the last number of centuries, for the last number of decades, for the last number of years, months, days, no matter how you want to measure it, all right? X the value of the metal. When we're talking about the COMEX price, we're talking about number one, manipulated, number two, measured in unicorn fart dust. It's like saying, let's measure, what do you think the price of, the charts here. This will be quick. Right? There's the price of silver in Venezuelan bolivars. And that's what? That was like 3 months. It went from 36 bolivars to 10,000 bolivars. Are you kidding me? Right? Are you kidding me? Right? What's the value of silver in Confederate dollars? What's the value of silver in German Deutschmarks? Have you thought about that? I don't know these other names of these currencies, so I'm not going to try to even act like I do, but whatever they used in ancient Rome, right? What about, the United States has had like 4 different currencies since our early days. So when we're looking at the COMEX and the LBMA, number one, it's manipulated. Number two, it's measured. It's another M and M. It's measured. It's manipulated. That's the first M. The second M, basement dwellers, is it's manipulated. Do you agree with me? If you do, it's a participation show. Type MM. MM. I'd never really thought about it. I mean, we know, I've never put those together. Maybe you have. A lot of you guys are smarter than me. Is that you that I'm talking to? Yeah, you. Are you the one? Are you part of the group that's smarter than me? Right? Number one, it's manipulated. Number two, it's measured in paper. Why do we pay attention? What the heck? We're going to stop talking about the price of silver. Although that's my thumbnail, right? $60 silver, because that's what we do. Please don't forget to give her a thumbs up. It helps. Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. When we get to 200, I'm going to ring that cowbell, right? Some of you guys love the cowbell. That would be me. I'm part of the cowbell loving group. So much to talk about, you guys. More and more big articles. What does it mean? What does it mean? More and more big articles coming out about the number of states I almost said this year. In this year, 2023, that did pass legal tender-oriented legislation, but 2024 is setting up for what could be a barnstormer of a year for legal tender legislation in this country. Don't forget, Florida is the 15th largest economy in the world, if it were its own little Florida country. Right? They just don't have oranges and orange juice. Oh, Florida's big. Florida's innovative. Florida's been growing, right? A lot of people have moved from places up east like New York and New Jersey down to Florida, right? Florida is a growing, and they are hot and heavy on making silver and gold legal tender. What is that telling us? What is that telling us, right? It's going to be interesting. It's not just Florida, Missouri, New Hampshire, New Hampshire, and other states as well. All my friends in New Hampshire. I don't know why. I'll stop doing it maybe one of these days. I said I'd stop talking about hot dogs, and I did. And I'll start pronouncing New Hampshire as its proper name, New Hampshire. Anyway. It's going on. Big mainstream articles are starting to come out about this. Like, oh, you could use silver and gold, blah, blah. People are waking up. Do you feel it? I feel it. It's happening. We got 200 thumbs up. I will ring the cowbell. This is a cowbell warning for those of you that hate me for the cowbell. I apologize, but it will be coming when you least expect it. It's going to be a black swan cowbell. Okay. Oh, brother. You know. Did I mention Costco's selling silver? I know. I beat that dead horse, but it's a big story. I'm sorry. I mean, remember just like a month ago, we were like, Costco selling gold. Costco is selling gold. And I even said, I was looking back a couple, guys, we said it. We were like, what about if they start selling silver? Well, they are. And it's being covered by the mainstream media up in Canada, where there's 108 Costco stores. They had a little snippet. I watched it the other night about the gold, silver. Very interesting things going on. Here comes the black swan. Whoa. Yep. A little more for Jake. All right. Whew. A lot of you are about my age. Do you find that technology is starting to get a little confusing for you at times? Allow me to rant for just 15 seconds. My daughter's got iPhones, and we got this new thing for our TV called a Roku box. And then they got this virtual reality thing from this grandma and grandpa. My mom and dad are very spoil my children, which is fine. Anyway, I've opened and closed and tried to set up more accounts with Netflix, and oh my God, isn't it mind-numbing? Maybe you relate, right? I don't know. And if I'm in the right mood, it's not too bad, but I'm usually not in the right mood. Anyway, I digress. Let's keep going here. And she talked about it on CBS News, right? The CBS lady, forget her name, the Black Swan. In hindsight, it seemed like it was inevitable. Yeah. Okay. What are we going to be? Think about this, guys. 1 year from right now, we will have a new president. Well, or we'll have the same president because we know he's doing such a great job with the economy. It's working. He yelled at the press the other day. He yelled at the press, people in the press, because he said, "You're not telling the truth about the economy." Right? I guess he wants everybody on the press. I guess now all the people are going to start saying, Bidenomics, it's working, right? Yeah, it's working, Joe. Yeah, everybody has 4 jobs. Nobody can afford their credit card payments. But anyway, are we going to, could we have, 1 year from now, we're going to have gone, hopefully, through an election. And it's going to be a crazy year. The fact that nobody's talking about that makes me very, very certain that we could see some major, let's say, political, social, I don't know if that's the right word for it, trouble in this country next year, because you've got 2 factions of people that do not like each other at all. Okay. And that is going to be yet another supportive factor for the precious metals as we go through the year. CoinShop Chris tells me I missed a super chat. Hold on. I apologize. Bear with me, guys. We're having normal technical difficulties here in the basement. I'll see if I can get that to catch up. And to the person that gave the super chat, I just want to say thank you. It's super appreciated, as I'm super, like you guys, probably not excited to see what my credit card bills look like after Christmas. Oh, brother. Deflation? It's going to be, are you kind of excited? I'm kind of excited to see what happens here in the next 3 months in this country, just because we talk about it so much and we know that there are these challenges going on. But to see Metal Seer, Bitcoin drop, wow, selling ETF. Yeah, okay, all right, here. Metal Seer brings up a great point. We've had this big rally in Bitcoin that probably has taken a little bit away from the silver and gold markets. But guys, this happened. If you were invested in silver, you know our favorite ETF, SLV. Yes, from BlackRock. BlackRock, the world's biggest institutional investor. They put the word institution in institutional. You may not know this, but one of the big runs up that we had in the silver price was the lead up to the launch of the SLV ETF by our friends at BlackRock. And then, because everybody said, oh, they're going to have to buy all this silver, and everybody was front running it, right? Like trying to get in early. And then when the SLV ETF officially started trading, the price of silver dropped precipitously. And that could be what's going on with the Bitcoin situation as well. Everybody's trying to get in front because supposedly they're going to bring out ETFs. I don't know. Like my 22-year-old, very intelligent nephew said last night, he said, it's based on nothing, Uncle Ron. I said, I know. You don't have to tell me. Come on down to the basement, buddy. We know. Although we're not against one big thing that's helped with the crypto world, with the silver and gold world, is it's educated a lot of younger kids about the fact that not only is Bitcoin based on nothing, but the fiat money system is based on nothing as well. What's really going to be interesting, okay, so as we head into next year, we're going to be watching what goes on with this Bidenomics. Major election coming on, okay? Deflation, the D word, coming on. Guys, that's why Jerome Powell became dovish. Dovish means crank up the old money printer next year with the election going on, okay? Deflation will scare the doo-doo out of them. There's no doubt about it. We got a lot of D words going on. However, right, as they start the money printer up, everything else is in place for inflation to get kicked into high gear. When that happens, all these people, right? Just the beginning trickle. Right now, it's a trickle. There's a trickle of new people coming into the precious metal sector. When that next wave of inflation hits, if I'm correct, I don't have a crystal ball, okay, but I'm often correct and often wrong as well. But I do. I mean, are we not? Can you not see it that the world? When you look at the world situation and then you look at the domestic situation, we have 34 trillion in debt. Okay. When that, we are set up for another spike in inflation. This time when it happens, it's going to be party time here in the basement. Okay. That's when we're going to get massive increases in the silver price and the gold price, but in particular, the silver price. All right. Because people are going to freak. Most people, they got punished back in 2021, 22 with the sky high inflation. You remember what it was like going to the grocery store? Like, I always use the example of a bag of chips. It used to cost $1.50 at Aldi. Now it's $3, $2.75. Okay, when that next wave hits, people are going to be like, whoa, oh, no. I remember last time all my dollars lost value. What am I going to do? That's going to turn the trickle that we have now into a big flow of new people. You aren't going to, I think it's very likely that we could get in a situation where we've got these shortages in the metals again. If you want to get out ahead of it, okay? I'm not giving financial advice. You make up your own mind. You listen to me, listen to others, do your own reading. But if you want to get your hands on some metal before, maybe, right, there's a big rush, check out a place like Pimbex. That's where I go to buy my silver, right? They also have gold. They also have platinum, all right? Look into the company, read reviews, do your own due diligence is what I said. Just like when we're talking about all these big situations in the world, you got a head on your shoulders. And we've already covered ad nauseum the people that come to the basement, all 400 of you right now, right? And then the tens of thousands who watch the replays of these live streams are smarter than the average bear, right? The old $2,500 gold bear. So do your own due diligence. What I found is I trust them. I really like them. I know the brothers that own the company. Good people in my book, okay? They have adequate selection. They always have what I need, and their prices are either the best or hard to beat. To me, it's like a one-stop shop if I want to buy silver, let's say. I don't have to worry about researching the company. I can do minimal price comparison, and they almost always are absolutely the best price. I know it'll get shipped safely, all that good stuff. So check out Pimbex. Pimbex, Pimbex. And it's fun to say. And you can tell your husband or your wife, right, after you order, you say, I just ordered some silver from Pimbex. Pimbex.com. More metal for your money. The other guys compare their prices to these big guys like Epmex and some of the big, I'm not here to bash anybody, but just compare their prices. If you want to pay more money for your metal, go with them. If you want more metal for your money, go to Pimbex, because you will get more metal. Like, let's say you're buying a 100-ounce bar. Sometimes you can save $200-$300 enough to buy yourself another, 10 or 7 rounds or American Silver Eagles. American Silver Eagles have come down in price. I mean, can you? I didn't, and if you did, I'm sorry. Right? No, trust me, I've made plenty of other mistakes in my life, but a lot of people were buying American Silver Eagles for almost, $50 each earlier this year, 9 months ago, and now you can get them for around $30. I got a tube of American Silver Eagles as a Christmas gift. Okay. And they are beautiful coins, but hopefully you didn't buy too many of them at $50, $45 each when the premiums were sky high, when there was no silver. And why was there no silver? Why was there? Do you know why there was no silver back in March and April? I thought there was plenty of silver. There is now, but back then there was none because we had a little banking crisis, a little one, not even a full black swan, something that was, in hindsight, seemed inevitable, right? Yeah, just a little banking problem caused all that. Don't forget, we always talk about this, right? Basement dwellers, we want to be prepared monetarily, and a lot of us, the way we prepare monetarily for what could be coming down the road is to own silver and gold, but we want to be prepared mentally as well, because guys, this I believe to be an absolute fact, or an absolute truth in my mind about what we have coming. Because the system has grown more convoluted, more perverted, more debt, however you want to say it, more duct tape, more bubble gum, right? Holding all this together, right? Things are being escalated, and they're being escalated in a much more faster scenario, right? Things used to happen every once in a while. Now we're seeing things on many levels happening much, much more quickly. Metal Seer! All right, my friend. Thank you for that super chat. Sorry, I thought I missed something. Coin Shop Chris threw a virtual ding dong. So as we look out into next year, be ready. Things are happening. With the lady on CBS, Face the Nation. Face the Nation, CBS, right? Says it. Right? We know, right? Things are happening much, much faster. It's like everything falls. Well, Andy Scheckman has some term for it. Like things happen little by little by little, and then boom, all at once. Right? That one famous author who lived down in Key West, they asked him, "Is it Hemingway? I don't know. How'd you go broke?" He said, "Little by little by little, and then suddenly I was done." So I'm not saying that it's going to be the end, but things are happening on a much quicker basis right now in this country. And I mean, does it make sense, right? People, credit card delinquencies are way up. Car loan delinquencies are way, way up. We got a record number of people that are upside down on their cars. That means the balance they owe on their car loan is more than the value of the car. And 40%, right, when the government told all the people that have student loans, and there's a lot of them, student loan debt is like the biggest asset of our government, apparently. If you call that an asset, I think it's sad that that's the case. But nonetheless, the government said, sorry, when Joe said, sorry, guys, the economy's so good, it's working so well that you need to start paying your student loan debt back. 40% of the people that were scheduled to make payments, 40% skipped their first payment. What does that tell you, Joe? Huh? Maybe it's not working. Just my opinion, okay? Just my opinion. Many of you, yes, many of you have been through the mill over the last 2 to 3 years, right? It's a fact. Precious metals have done, we talked about this earlier, right? Had we told ourselves 4 years ago that gold would be sitting at 2,060, we'd be celebrating. But it's been a hairy ride. Silver's been a little bit hairier over the last 2 years. Being early, which I believe we are, right? As investors in silver, as an investor in gold, as an investor in particular, those of you who are invested into precious metal mining stocks have been decimated over the last couple of years. Okay, being early, right, doesn't mean that you're wrong, but it sure feels a lot like being wrong. So as we head through this next year, right, could things get worse, especially for precious metal mining stocks? Yeah, they could, but man, the opportunity, the path of least resistance, right? The easier way for things to go as this macro environment becomes so much more. Thank you, Metal Seer. I'm going to touch on that in a second. As everything becomes more conducive, right, for the metals prices, we're going to need to hold on and hold on, right? And I know it can be hard, and we'll deal with it as it comes, right? But we could be in situations where things aren't pleasant around us, but that our decision to protect ourselves with metals could be proven wise. And it can become an emotionally charged situation. So we're going to want to hold on. We will hold on. It'll all be, let's say we've been through some choppy waters over the last few years, and we could go through some I know you'll think I'm crazy for saying this, but trust me, because I've been through it. Sometimes when things go really bad, it's very difficult. Sometimes when they go really good, it can also be difficult because you're going to be forced like, oh my gosh, silver at $45 an ounce. Let me ask you this question. Let me ask you this right now, because a lot of you own physical silver. Let's say tomorrow, or let's say 2 months from now, silver's finally at $45 an ounce. And I know you're like me, think, hey, all right, yeah, that's awesome. But then you're faced with the decision. What do I do? Should I sell some of this? Should I sell part of it? Should I sell all of it? Should I sell none of it? Right? What if it's at 45 today, but look what happened over in the past? What if, let's say silver's at $45 today, and then you start worrying like, well, what if a month from now it's back to 20? You know, and that's the other thing to be prepared for. If and when we'll focus in on silver, the silver price does shoot up, you know they're going to be playing games trying to shake people out, trying to get people to sell. So we got to be prepared for all of that. All right. But we will be prepared, right? That's what we do. We're basement dwellers. We will be here for each other. And I promised you I'd be here every day. You get to watch me slowly degrade over time here live from the basement. It's a big deal that you're here. I appreciate you joining me. My plan, right, as I've said, is to be back tomorrow. So I'll look forward to seeing you guys. Have a good rest of your day. Happy day after Christmas, okay? And I will see you soon. Thank you.